What's going on, everybody? My name's Jake, and today I want to talk to you about teaching English in China this year in 2022. And honestly, teaching English there has always been an expat hotspot because you can make a lot of money, meet a lot of really cool people, explore history, rich culture and society. It's just a great experience. However, during the pandemic, it's been really stressful and anxiety-ridden for a lot of people. And today I want to talk to you about the many pros that there still are living there and working there, and also the many cons you might experience as well. So let's get into it. So I'll start off with two of the pros here that are honestly better than they ever have been in history of teaching English in China, and that is that there's so many job opportunities and the salaries are way higher than they used to be in the past. And that is because there's so much demand for English teachers. The pandemic caused a lot of people to leave China, go back home, or to not be able to get into China in the first place. So if you live in China currently, or you are able to move to China and manage to make it over there, you can make a ton of money, and also there's so many jobs that you can basically just pick from a lot of them. So in the past, it might have been really competitive to find a great job. The salaries might have been low, you're just going for the experience, but now you can have the experience and also make a ton of money in a good job setting that doesn't have as many hours, or it's not as crazy because you can basically pick your own job and pick the salary you want to make. So next, I'm gonna get into the most obvious con of living in China right now, and that is the COVID uncertainty and their very strict COVID policy. So basically, it's super anxiety-ridden to live in China right now because you can wake up one morning and unexpectedly be in a lockdown because you found a lot of COVID cases. So that's really stressful to not be certain the next morning you're gonna be totally fine and not be in your apartment for a month. So that's very scary. And you've probably seen the major lockdowns in Shanghai recently. So just know that going there and working there, you can face strict lockdowns if it comes to that. So that's a very, very stressful situation. And another con along the lines of the COVID policy and strict policies on entering China is that it's very difficult to travel internationally if you're living in China. So if you're a teacher there and you want to keep that job, then you can't really leave and come back very easily. All the quarantine rules and just so many problems. So if you're living there and you have family in another country, or you want to travel somewhere else for pleasure or something, you won't be able to. So I know a lot of friends in China right now who are very stressed out because they haven't seen their family since the beginning of the pandemic. So if you want to move to China, just know that you may not be able to go see friends and family or travel internationally at all during your duration of being in China. And since these all kind of relate to each other, I'll just do one more con before going to some more pros, and that is the fact that just getting to China is very expensive and very difficult. With the flight prices are still through the roof, like thousands of dollars for a flight, a one-way flight to get there. You have to quarantine for a couple weeks still. So there's just many policies right now that make it really expensive to get there. So if you can't find a school that's willing to pay for you to quarantine or pay for you to fly there, then you're gonna have to put up a lot of money up front because it's just so expensive, and also very stressful having to get COVID tests before you go and figure it all out and figure out a quarantine place. So you have to know that before you try and move to China as well. And those cons are obviously super big issues that are basically deal breakers for a lot of people right now. But let me tell you some pros that honestly make it totally worth it if you can push through and make it to China. And the first one is that the cost of living is still really low, on top of the fact that I said earlier that your salaries are going to be really high. So you can just basically fill up your bank account so much because you can make, like, I think I was making went under a tree. I was making like, I think 4,000 US dollars a month, but my apartment cost was like $350 a month for a 2-bedroom nice apartment. So if you do the math there, you're saving thousands of dollars a month. So even though you have to pay a lot to get to China, it can be stressful. Once you get there and start working, if you don't go into a lockdown or anything, even if you do, you can teach virtually, but basically you can just save so much money and live on such a low cost. It's totally worth it for a couple years. And obviously I realized that not being able to go internationally, being stuck in China, definitely can be a con, but I want to spin that into a pro because I felt that basically living there during the pandemic, I was able to experience China in a different light. So because I wasn't spending my breaks trying to go abroad or go home, I was able to stay in China, visit places I never would have before, go to some Buddhist mountains, go to some smaller cities you wouldn't have visited. So it was really cool experiencing those different places. Plus, because we're going through this pandemic as a society and a culture, I feel like I was kind of able to engage a little bit more with like my neighbors around me, and it wasn't just like, I'm a foreigner, you're Chinese, like we don't engage, like you just hang out with foreign friends. It was more like you're a part of the culture, part of the society, and you kind of make friends with the locals more and engage in a different way than you would have in the past. So I want to leave this video with a few closing thoughts, and they're basically like up to your interpretation, not really a pro, not really a con, just however you feel about them. And the first one is that, like I said earlier in the video, a major pro is that you make a lot of money and you're in demand. So because you're in demand as a teacher, I'd say to you that you can definitely negotiate better contracts, negotiate things that you wouldn't normally be able to in the past. So maybe get your hours reduced, maybe get a contract with a lot more money, or like a signing bonus or something. So if you are going to China, don't just take the first job that comes your way. Try and look at it as a whole, and maybe talk to the school, talk to whoever's employing you, and get a better deal than you're going to, because they need you. And another thought is basically what's being dubbed as the foreigner exodus, and that is the fact that a lot of the expat communities and the foreigners who were living in China before have now left China and are leaving China due to the lockdowns in Shanghai and Beijing, other areas. And honestly, I just want to say, don't let that deter you. I think that you can definitely engage in a different way than just in your expat bubbles like in the past. So with all that being said, I just want to say that living in China and working there as an English teacher honestly changed my life for the better, and it's one of the greatest things I've ever decided to do. So I think that everyone should try and experience something like that. And if it's not China, you could go to another country and teach English as well. So it's not just China or nothing. You can look into other countries in Asia or Europe or anywhere else and try it, because just get out there and experience it, get out of your comfort zone, and I promise you, you won't regret it. And with that, I say thank you, have a great day.